Have you ever wondered how just $5 a day can change your financial future? Over 30 years, that small daily habit could grow into a staggering amount. With an average growth rate of 7%, you could end up with more than $50,000. It's not just about saving, it's about the power of consistency and time. So, what could you do with that money? Alright, let's dive into the math and see how it all adds up. Have you ever thought about what just $5 a day could really mean for your future? It sounds so simple, right? Just a cup of coffee or a snack. But let's break it down. If you set aside $5 every single day for 30 years, you might be surprised by what that adds up to. Assuming an average annual return of 6%, that daily contribution could grow into a nest egg of over $50,000. Now, that's a nice chunk of change. But here's the kicker. If you think $5 is too little to make a difference, think again. Imagine what you could do with that money: travel, invest in your dreams, or even start a new hobby. So, why not start today? If you find this insight helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Chill Finance for Real Life. Your future self will thank you. Before we dive in, please remember this video is for educational purposes only. It is not financial, legal, or tax advice. We encourage you to do your own research and consider seeking professional advice tailored to your specific situation. Now, let's explore the math behind saving just $5 a day over 30 years. Imagine this. You're sitting at your favorite coffee shop, sipping on a warm latte. You glance at the price on the menu, and it hits you just $5. It feels like a small amount, right? But what if I told you that setting aside just $5 a day could lead to a significant financial change over 30 years? Let's break down the math together. If you save $5 every day, that adds up to $1,825 a year. Now, that might seem like a decent chunk of change, but let's take it a step further. Over 30 years, you would have saved a whopping $54,750. That's a big number, but here's where it gets interesting. Let's assume you invest that money instead of just saving it. If you invest your savings and earn an average annual return of, say, 7%, historically, a reasonable expectation for stock market returns, your money can grow exponentially. So, how does that work? Let's do the math. With compound interest, your initial investment starts to grow on itself. After 30 years, those $54,750 could turn into over $320,000. That's the magic of compounding. Now, let's pause for a moment. Picture this: you're in your 60s, sitting on a beach, sipping a drink, and feeling relaxed. You didn't win the lottery. You didn't have to hustle for extra hours at work. You simply made a consistent choice every day, just $5. That small decision could lead to a much more comfortable retirement. But let's consider the flip side for a moment. What if you decide not to save that $5? It's easy to think, it's just $5. What difference does it make? But over time, those small choices accumulate, and you could miss out on significant growth. Here's a quick recap. Saving just $5 a day can lead to substantial savings over time. But remember, if you don't invest that money wisely, inflation can eat away at your purchasing power. We're assuming a modest inflation rate of around 3%. That means that over 30 years, the value of your money could decrease, making it essential to think about how you save and invest. Now, let's bring it back to you. What would you do with an extra $320,000 in retirement? Would you travel? Help your family? Start a new hobby? The possibilities are endless. Alright, now let's zoom out and think about the bigger picture. Life is full of choices, and every choice, no matter how small, adds up over time. So, I challenge you. What's one small financial decision you can make today that could lead to a brighter future? Maybe it's cutting back on that daily coffee or meal out. Or perhaps it's setting up an automatic transfer to your savings account. Whatever it is, remember that small steps can lead to big changes. So, as we wrap up, I want you to take a moment and reflect. How can you make that $5 a day work for you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's inspire each other to make those small, impactful choices. Thanks for tuning in to Chill Finance for Real Life. Remember, it's not just about the dollars, it's about the decisions that lead to a more secure and fulfilling financial future. Imagine you could save just $5 a day. Sounds easy, right? Many people think, I can skip that coffee or pack my lunch instead of eating out. But let's dive into the math behind that simple decision over the long term. If you save $5 every day, that adds up to $1,825 each year. Here's how we get that number. $5 a day times 365 days in a year equals $1,825. Now, let's think about what happens if you keep saving that money for 30 years. Over those 3 decades, you would save a total of $54,750. That's $1,825 multiplied by 30 years. But here's where it gets interesting. What if you invest that money instead of just saving it? Let's say you invest this money in a way that earns an average annual return of 7%. This is a common estimate based on historical stock market returns. Now, we need to calculate how much that $54,750 could grow over 30 years with compound interest. Compound interest means you earn interest on your initial investment, plus any interest that has already been added. Using the formula for compound interest, we take the principal amount, which is $54,750, and multiply it by 1 plus the interest rate, raised to the power of the number of years. So, it looks like this: $54,750 times 1.07 raised to the 30th power. Now, let's break that down step by step. First, we calculate 1.07 raised to the 30th power. That gives us about 7.6. Next, we multiply that by $54,750. When we do that, we get approximately $398,000. That's right. By saving just $5 a day and investing it wisely, you could potentially grow your savings to around $398,000 over 30 years. Now, let's pause for a moment. Think about that. You started with just $5 a day. It's a small sacrifice, but the payoff is huge. But what about inflation? Inflation is the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services rises, eroding purchasing power. Historically, inflation has averaged around 3% per year. If we factor in inflation over those 30 years, we need to adjust our final amount. The future value of money decreases because of inflation. To find out how much purchasing power that $398,000 will have in 30 years, we can use the same compound interest formula, but this time we will calculate the effect of inflation. So, we take $398,000 and divide it by 1.03 raised to the 30th power. 1.03 raised to the 30th power is about 2.47. When we divide $398,000 by 2.47, we find that the adjusted amount is about $161,000 in today's money. That's still a significant amount, but it's important to realize that inflation can impact our savings. Now, let's recap. By saving just $5 a day, you could potentially have around $398,000 in 30 years, but after adjusting for inflation, that amount is closer to $161,000 in today's terms. Here's a thought. What could you do with that money? Maybe it's a down payment on a home, funding your child's education, or enjoying a comfortable retirement. So, I want to hear from you. What would you do with that kind of money? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Alright, now let's zoom out and reflect on the bigger picture. Saving money, even in small amounts, can lead to significant financial growth over time. The key takeaway here is that every little bit counts. $5 a day may seem small, but with patience and smart investing, it can lead to a brighter financial future. So, as you go about your day, think about those small choices you can make. They add up more than you might realize. Remember, it's not just about saving money, it's about making your money work for you. What's your next step? Imagine a young woman named Sarah, just starting her career at 22 years old. She loves her morning coffee ritual, spending $5 each day at her favorite cafe. It's a small pleasure, right? But let's pause for a moment. What if Sarah decided to invest that $5 instead? If she invested that amount daily, over 30 years, she would have put aside about $54,000. Assuming an average annual return of 7%, that investment could grow to about $250,000. Now, think about that. Sarah could have the down payment for a home or a solid nest egg for retirement. Just $5 a day could mean the difference between financial stress and financial freedom. Alright, now let's zoom out and meet James. He's a father of two, juggling work and family life. Every week, he grabs takeout for his family, spending about $35. What if instead, he set aside that money for his children's future? If James redirected that weekly spending into a savings account, he'd be saving $1,800 a year. Over the next 18 years, with a conservative growth rate of 5%, that could grow to around $45,000. That's enough to help his kids with college tuition or a first car. Just think about the impact that could have on their lives. Now, let's switch gears and hear from Maria, a retiree who loves to travel. She often spends $10 a day on small luxuries like snacks and souvenirs. If she had invested that daily amount instead, she could have accumulated over $70,000 in 30 years. Imagine the adventures she could have taken with that extra cash. Finally, let's consider a student named Alex, who is always tempted to buy the latest gadgets. If Alex saved just $5 a day instead, he would have over $54,000 by the time he turns 52. What could that mean for his future? A home? A business? So, what's the takeaway here? Small daily choices can lead to significant financial outcomes. What are you willing to sacrifice today for a brighter tomorrow? Imagine saving just $5 a day. Over 30 years, that might sound simple, right? But let's break down the math. If you save $5 daily, that adds up to $1,825 a year. Now, multiply that by 30 years, and you're looking at $54,750. But wait, what if you invest that money instead of just saving it? Alright, now let's zoom out. If we assume an average annual return of 7%, your investment could grow significantly. Compounding is key here. Each year, your money earns interest, and then that interest earns interest too. Over 30 years, your $54,750 could balloon to over $350,000. That's the power of investing early. Now, let's consider inflation. If inflation averages around 3% per year, that means your purchasing power decreases over time. So, that $350,000 won't buy what it would today. This shows the importance of not just saving, but investing wisely. It's crucial to keep your money working for you. Have you ever thought about what you could do with that kind of money? Maybe buy a home, fund your child's education, or even take a dream vacation. It's all possible with consistent, smart investing. This isn't just about saving, it's about creating a future. Let's talk about the missed opportunities. If you choose to skip investing and just save that $5, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. Think about it. The difference between saving and investing can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars in your future. Would you rather have $54,000 or $350,000? Now, let's recap the key takeaway. Investing even small amounts regularly can lead to significant wealth over time. It's not about how much you start with. It's about consistency and time. When you start investing early, you harness the power of compounding. In conclusion, the brutal math of just $5 a day shows us that every little bit counts. So, what are you waiting for? Start today, and let your money work for you. What will your future look like if you take that first step? Alright, let's dive into some common objections about the idea of saving just $5 a day. You might be thinking, $5 a day? That won't make a difference. But let's pause for a moment. If you save $5 every single day for 30 years, you'll have saved about $54,000. That's not pocket change. Now, some might argue, but what about inflation? Isn't that going to eat away at my savings? Great point. Let's say inflation averages around 2% a year. That means your $54,000 could lose purchasing power over time. But even with inflation, if your money is invested wisely, it can grow. With an average annual return of 7%, your savings could potentially grow to over $270,000 after 30 years. Still skeptical? You might think, I can't stick to saving $5 every day. I hear you. Life happens. But think of it this way, could you skip that daily coffee or those extra snacks? It's about making small, manageable changes. And here's a little story to illustrate. Imagine a friend who starts saving just $5 a day. At first, feels like nothing. But after a few years, they realize they've built a solid financial cushion. It's not about the amount, it's about consistency. So, what do you think? Could you commit to just $5 a day? Let me know in the comments below. Remember, every little bit counts, and the earlier you start, the more you can grow. Have you ever thought about how just $5 a day could change your financial future? Let's dive into the brutal math of saving over 30 years. Alright, picture this. If you save $5 every single day, that adds up to $1,825 each year. Now, if you keep this up for 30 years, you're looking at a total of $54,750. Sounds good, right? But here's where the math gets interesting. Let's assume you invest that money and earn an average annual return of 7%, which is a common estimate for stock market growth. With compound interest, your money starts to work for you. After 30 years, that initial $54,750 could grow to over $250,000. But wait, what if inflation averages 3% during those 30 years? That means the purchasing power of your money decreases. So, while $250,000 sounds great, it won't buy you as much as it does today. Now, let's recap. Saving $5 a day adds up to $54,750 over 30 years. But with investment growth, you could see that amount soar, even after accounting for inflation. So, is $5 a day really worth it? Absolutely. It's about consistency and making your money work for you over time. Now, I want to hear from you. What small daily habits are you focusing on? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember, every little bit counts. As we wrap up, let's reflect on the brutal math behind saving just $5 a day over 30 years. That's $1,825 a year. If we assume a modest growth of 7% annually, you could end up with over $250,000. Remember, this is just an example. Actual results can vary. It's a reminder that small, consistent actions can lead to significant outcomes. And, of course, the earlier you start, the more time your money has to grow. So, if you found this insightful, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Remember, every little bit counts. Stay tuned for our next video, where we'll explore the power of compound interest in everyday life. Until next time, keep it chill and keep it financial. Over 30 years, that totals around $54,750. But if you invest that money with a 7% annual return, it could grow to about $132,000. Don't forget, inflation can chip away at your purchasing power, averaging around 3% a year. So, while it seems small, those daily contributions can add up significantly over time. Imagine what you could do with that amount. Remember, it's about consistency and patience. If you found this helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more insights. Chill finance can lead to real-life wealth.